IB and Cable Channel 7 present Financially Speaking. The opinions voiced on this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial advisor,
103.7 WTIB and Cable Channel 7 welcome you into Financially Speaking with Jim Taunton. Find us live on radio, TV, the IBX Media app, and on YouTube. Just search Financially Speaking NC or get the link at WTIBFM.com. The opinions expressed in this show are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine what investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities and investment advisory services are offered through Genuis Wealth Management Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Now, here's your host for Financially Speaking, certified financial advisor, Jim Taunton.
And Cable.
And welcome to Financially Speaking. Jim Taunton here, your host for the next 30 minutes. Glad you joined me. And you joined by radio, I'm sure, because I don't see a live stream on YouTube. We didn't have it last week, and we tried to get it thing working. Maybe it'll start working. Don't see it, though. If you subscribe, you're supposed to get a notification when it comes up, and I didn't get that either. So we'll see what happens. But I do have some good information for you, and by far and away, my audience is the radio. We have a 100,000 watt station in WTIB, and it gets out all over. And my calls to the program will come from the radio. So as long as we're on there, we're in good shape. And I'd love for you to call with a financially related question or comment. And if you do that, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Tavola. I will even pay the tip. Great place to eat here in Greenville. And the number to call to do that is 252-561-TALK. 252-561-TALK or 561-8255. 561-8255. So if you will call during this first 2-minute break, we will take your call first when we come back. And again, your name goes into the drawing for the dinner for two at Tavola. I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes.
Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Ayton Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart, unless you like to walk. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Ayton Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
To change the verbiage because supposedly we're going to be live on YouTube as well as on radio. I want to make you aware of that. And if you will, when you go to YouTube, in the search bar, just put the at symbol, Financially Speaking NC. You should be able to find it from there. after a while, you'll just be able to put in financially speaking and probably see it, or maybe even my name. We'll see what happens with that. But just trying to make it more easily accessible to individuals. And we're going to get that thing working eventually. I mean, we've got a smart guy working on it. Yeah. So no calls, I assume. I didn't hear the producer in my ear telling me we had one. So call me anytime. Interrupt the monologue, please. And I'll be glad to talk to you about your question. It's much more fun talking to someone about something that's important to them personally. So give me a buzz, 561-8255, and your name goes into the drawing for the Den of Do Not Divorce. All right, I was at a conference this week. I actually left out of here Sunday morning and was there until yesterday. About 5:30, flew into Pitt Greenville. I love flying in and out of Greenville, because when you touch down, you're home. You don't have to drive another hour and a half if you go out of Raleigh. So I would much rather do that. And my connections were pristine, so I'll do that as often as I can. But the conference was in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. It's incredible how much distance one can cover in an airplane. I mean, I was in Utah yesterday morning. When I got out of bed, it was probably 3:45 a.m. their time, 5:45 our time. I tried to stay on our time. Actually, I was getting up really early and going to bed really early. I didn't want to get out of whack when I came home, because it was only a 3-day conference. Didn't want to change my whole system for that. But, hop out of bed at 3:45 a.m. and you fly to Chicago. Then I flew to Charlotte and Greenville, and I'm in Greenville, at 5:45-ish. It's incredible, really. It's incredible, because Utah is pretty much across the country. It is beautiful country, but I can tell you Salt Lake City has nothing for me. I love Greenville, and would not trade Greenville for Salt Lake City at all. So there you have that. But anyway, I listened to a goodly number of speakers, and also was able to have conversations with other advisors about various and sundry things. But I've got one speaker that I actually took photographs. Well, that's dating me. I took pics of the slides, not all of them, but the ones I thought would be of interest. And so I have them on my phone, and I'm going to be looking at those as I share information with you. And we'll start with that right now. How do we explain how the stock market has continued to go up? And we've had some issues in the economy with inflation and other things. The Fed's raised rates, probably quicker than they have any time in history, which normally is a death knell for the stock market. But the market has continued to go up, excepting the last month and a half to 2 months or so. We've been in the doldrums the last 60 days. But how has it continued to appreciate? I tell you what, let's do. Let's go to another quick break, because I've got something I need to take care of. I got a call from the producer, and we're going to do that. So let's go to a quick break.
Eden Golf and Country Club invites you to become a member. Come tour our beautiful clubhouse, ballroom, and facilities. For a quality golf experience, sign up for our discounted special membership rates, low monthly dues with no quarterly food minimum or assessments. Folks love to play golf at Eden Golf and Country Club. Cool off at the pool all summer. Enjoy excellent food and beverages from the snack bar. Even store your own cart. Call 746-3389 for special limited membership rates at the Eden Golf and Country Club.
My practice has been built on accessibility, responsiveness, and a willingness to be proactive for my clients. I'm not afraid to make recommendations relating to your investments and planning. I do hope all of your financial decisions are good ones, but let's not rely on hope.
Just one.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
One spot.
Jim has attained 3 professional designations: Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Life Underwriter, and Chartered Financial Consultant, which entails 20 courses of study with examinations and a comprehensive national board exam, administered by the Certified Financial Planning Board. Jim has been practicing in financial services since 1979, which includes investing, planning, and insurance to help you meet your financial goals. Among the many awards Jim has received in his career is his selection to the Guide of the Top Financial Planners by the Consumer Research Council of America. So if you want to work with someone who is working for you, call Jim at 756-4700 or email him at planning@financiallyspeaking.com. That's 756-4700 and planning@financiallyspeaking.com.
All right, Jim Taunton back with you, and Mr. Producer wanted to talk to me about, actually didn't want to talk to me, he texted me that we have a caller, which is a wonderful thing, and I don't know the name. What's the name? Dom? Do you have the name of the caller? All right, Bill. We have Bill on the line. Bill, go right ahead with your question.
Hello, Jim. I need some advice, brother.
Well, I hope I can give you some good advice.
All right. So probably a question that maybe you haven't answered before. I've been with a financial planner for a good long time, and it's covered everything from, stocks, bonds, retirement, insurance, a retired spouse. So, complexities, Social Security, the entire cauldron, as it were. So help me from your perspective. You've been with a financial planner for a period of time, and you really have I'm beginning to have some reservations.
Okay.
About certain things.
So what's caused the reservations?
Well, as far as my money making money for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I was listening to your piece just before you went to break, and you were getting into something I was going to really find interesting, which was, how is the stock market still going up in the time we find ourselves in now with wild inflation? And so I do want you to get back to that, because
I will after we finish our call.
Hear your thoughts on that.
Sure.
But help me from your perspective. What would you suggest? Do I approach another financial planner to give me an outside look at things? How does that process actually work when I have a vested interest in, another fiduciary?
Right. Well, it's just like the medical profession. Sometimes you seek a second and even a third opinion, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then you might get an opinion that causes you to want to change who you're working with. But assets that are held with a particular advisor can easily be transferred, and they're done electronically to an account with a different advisor. And it shouldn't cost you anything at all to do that. If it's IRA money, you're transferring from one IRA to another, and that's a non-taxable event. If it's a non-IRA, you're transferring assets in kind until they get to the new advisor. Then you can decide how you want to proceed from there. But that occurs without a taxable event. We're not actually selling assets. We're moving assets. So if you decide that your current planner or advisor is not living up to expectations, I mean, you may want to talk to him or her first and say, look, I'm just feeling a little angst here about our relationship and, performance or what you're doing for me. Just, all right, address these issues that I see. And then you can interview some other advisors and decide, if you want to move the assets or not. But that's an easy thing. I mean, I move assets all the time from advisors. Believe it or not, in 44 years, I've actually lost some clients for various reasons. They move away, or they have a brother in the business, or they have a friend that got into the business, and all kinds of different reasons why people move money. It's not necessarily your performance, but it happens all the time. I'm moving money. I have money in motion. I call it MEM, money in motion. I have movements of money coming and going all the time. It's not a big deal, really.
Got it.
Did that address your question?
Well, it certainly has given me, an avenue to think about, because the other thing I need to balance, honestly, is maybe they're right and my perception is wrong. And, so that is why, dealing with a fiduciary, first and foremost, that's something that, I learned from your show, to be honest with you, many years ago, and why that actually is an important, that's an important step. So, for me, it's as much about, maybe I want to say validation that I'm seeking more so than anything else. But you kind of laid it out for me.
And let me tell you that working with fiduciary does not exclude any type of financial product or vehicle that you might use. A fiduciary can still use, for example, a commissionable product if it's in the best interest of the client, and there is a disclosure that the fiduciary will do in that case to make sure a client may know of any conflicts of interest. But fiduciary doesn't necessarily mean that it's only fee or only no load or only this or that. I would definitely not want my hands tied when I'm dealing with a client, because every client's needs are different. So the fiduciary label is possibly overused, but I do act as a fiduciary for clients, especially when I have a fee-only type of account, and when I do financial planning. The CFP designation in and of itself requires that I act in the best interest of the client. And that's really what fiduciary means. Recommendations are coming from the client's side of the table, and they are in the client's best interest, not in the best interest of the advisor or a company. And that's the bottom line.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Tom. Thanks for laying it out for me. And,
certainly, Bill. Where are you located, by the way?
Here in Greenville.
In Greenville. Well, I appreciate your listening and taking the initiative to call. Very much so. Much rather talk to you than monologue.
Well, I completely understand where you're coming from, but I am going to hang up and listen to what you'd started in on before, because I did find your topic keenly interesting. Jim, thanks, brother. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Deal. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. And I hope Bill gave his phone number to the producer when he called in, so he's in the drawing for the dinner for two at Antavola. And you can be too if you call the number 561-TALK, 561-8255, and I can chat with you about something that's of interest to you. And also want to mention, I have a YouTube channel now. It really wasn't my idea. The station actually came to me and said, let's create a YouTube channel, put you on there, and they'll use the audio from that. So it's a different way of me getting audio into the station. It's probably a little more predictable. But it's supposed to be live streamed, so you could be on YouTube right now, be watching my radio program. but it's not live streaming, so we're uploading the program after the fact, but you could watch the program on YouTube. But let me give you how you get to the channel. If you go to YouTube and in the search bar, you would put the @ symbol, Financially Speaking NC, North Carolina. So @ symbol, Financially Speaking NC, and you will find the channel and you'll click and go to it. And then if you hit subscribe, when we get this live stream thing working, and you'll get notifications that I'm on air, and you can watch the program on the phone for that matter. It'll be a neat thing. I'm just trying to make it available to as many people and as easily as possible. So @ Financially Speaking NC. All right. I know Bill's interested in what I'm going to say now. I hope you are too, but we were talking about the logic behind the stock market doing as well as it has done when the Fed has been increasing rates. Inflation has been high, a lot of negative things going on, but the market has continued to perform, excepting the last 60 days or so. We've had a little backtracking, but from January 1st to today, the market is still up double digits. We're still up approaching 12% for the year, and we're in October. So if we were flat from now to December 31st, most people would be glad to have the 11 to 12% return that we've already gotten in the markets. So even though we're down about 6%, we're still up about 12, and nothing to sneeze at. So why is that? Why is that? Well, inflation has been cooling somewhat from last year. Last year was almost scary when you'd hear 8%, 8.5% inflation. I mean, it's not hyperinflation, but it's uncomfortable. And this year, inflation has been coming down. What the Fed has been doing is taking effect. The reduction is there. I mean, it's in the numbers, no question about it. So cooler inflation, I think, is lifting spirits. Also, there's no recession on the horizon. I don't care what you hear from the national types. The national types that I trust and listen to are saying soft landing. Now, soft landing is still not where we want to be. We want great landing, right? We want great economy and great markets, but most people probably take a soft landing after all these rate increases. But that just simply means no recession and inflation going down to a normalized level. Now, what the Fed says they would like to have is 2%. I just think that's a little too much to ask. I think a 2.5%, maybe a little bit higher inflation rate is fine. It's not detrimental, but the Fed wants 2%. And, we're heading there, but very slowly. But no recession, soft landing. Market loves that. And we see rising earnings. I mean, the fundamentals of corporations are very strong. Very strong. There's nothing out there fundamentally that says that companies are in trouble. So that's a good thing also. So that's another positive for the stock market. And the economic output accelerated in recent months, for that matter, on the back of solid consumer spending. The consumer is by far the largest percentage of our GDP, and the consumer has been very strong. Inflation cooled to 3% in June, and wage growth, while still elevated, slowed, according to the Labor Department. So, we've seen the beginnings of disinflation without any real cost in the labor market or cost in GDP. And, that's the definition of soft landing. Now, what do we have bad going on? Is there any bad news out there? Well, leading economic indicators are a negative thing, and I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. The inverted yield curve, and simply what that means is short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. You can go out and get a money market fund paying 5.3% for crying out loud. That's absurd. And the longer term bonds are paying less than shorter term, and that usually spells recession, but it just hasn't been the case. And it does not look like we're heading that way. Weak July manufacturing, as measured by the PMI. Then we have the federal budget deficit that is ridiculously high. Good heavens, we're at 655. I'm out of time. I'm going to have to continue this next week. But thanks for the call, Bill. And as always, this is Jim Taunton helping you make all of your decisions, financial decisions. Good ones. Good night, everybody.